Barbers, the main reason that you're thinking that you can't land high-paying clients is because of your location. But you believe if you lived in a big city like LA, New York, or London, that everything would change. But let me break that belief right now. It's not your location that's holding you back, it's your content setup. The reason I know this is because I've lived it. For those of you who don't know who I am, I'm Tim Brace. I've been a professional barber for the last 10 years, and I've managed to gain over 100,000 followers across social media platforms, allowing me to charge upwards of $100 a cut. But the best part yet, I did it in the middle of absolutely nowhere. No big city advantage, no support from local businesses, and absolutely zero footfall. Just me and my clippers and a system that allows me to create content that positions me as an authority in my space. And that's why I can confidently say this. If I can build a six-figure barbering business from here, you can do it from anywhere. So in this video, I'm gonna show you the behind the scenes look on the exact setup you need. The same foundations that I give all of my students, so they can continuously create viral videos, land high-paying clients, and open up doors to brand deals and online monetization. So you can actually become the barberpreneur. With that being said, let's get into the video. Welcome to section 1, lighting, the foundation of any good video. The thing is, most barbers assume that the camera makes the video. Better the camera, better the video. But in actual fact, lighting makes or breaks the video. So it's crucial that you master this. Okay, what lighting are we actually gonna set up in your shop? So let's start from the ground up. First of all, we're gonna have some really strong downlights. It's even better if you can actually control the temperature of the lights. This gives you more variables when it actually comes to creating your content. But now that you understood that we need really strong downlighting, let's talk about some of the additional lights that you can add to your setup to start creating that professional looking content. So I like to work with a 4 lighting setup. As you can see, there's 4 lights around me. So let's go ahead and explain which each one is and why we're gonna use it. So starting off with the right, we have a ring light. This is kind of like the foundation and your basic entry level light when it comes to creating content. It's very versatile. What I love most about this light is the fact that you can change the brightness. So if I click things like that, I can change the brightness, as well as I can change the actual temperature. So whether I want it warmer or cooler, depending on whatever your style of video you're creating. But next, what we're gonna talk about is a softbox. This is crucial, okay? If you have the space, I highly recommend grabbing yourself one. Why? Because a softbox allows you to soften the face when you're creating content. What tends to happen when barbers just use ring lights, it makes the face look a little bit white and it's too harsh on the client when you're filming. So what the softbox does is it eliminates that harsh light. Because of the filter on front, or the diffuser as they say, that lets the light diffuse onto the face and giving a softer tone. Now moving on to the left side, we have a secondary ring light. Again, very similar to this ring light here. However, this one doesn't have the changeability. I can't change the color of it. I can just play around with the lighting. This was my old ring light, but I've just kept it. It's the first one I used and it's kind of a little bit sentimental to me. It's actually being held together with sellotape, but no one needs to know that. And then with the final light, we have a small box panel light. This light is great, but it can be quite harsh. As you can see, the diffuser doesn't really diffuse it very well. It just gives off dots. Me looking at it, all I can see is the dots. So now we've covered what lights we're gonna have, how we're actually gonna set it up. So we have our client in the center of our lighting. It's crucial that we have light coming from both sides. So that is because wherever you place your camera, there's lighting from behind of it. Ideally, right now, I'm going against all lighting setups. You should never really shoot into lighting, but for me, the purpose of the video, if I shoot that way, the lighting would just be off, so we have to deal with it. But what we wanna do is imagine our camera's gonna be here and we're gonna set up a lighting from down lighting, which is about 45 degrees, and this works great with the ring lights. Then we're gonna follow that up with a softbox that's kind of eye level with your client. This is because this light projects right onto the client's face. Again, softening those lights that the ring light is giving off. And then finally, again, with the panel light, this can either be side on, similar to your softbox, or for me, I've just got it inside the ring light. Primarily, I just have this light because it gives off more light compared to this ring light, as this ring light isn't as bright. With this lighting setup, you can create professional level content without those expensive cameras. You don't need an £1,000 camera to start creating that crisp content. You just need the right lighting setup. So this is the foundation, like I said, of any great piece of content. And that moves on perfectly to the next section of the video. Moving on to section 2, cameras. You already have what you need. Believe me, I know what you're thinking, but you don't need a £2,000 camera to start creating some fancy content. You only need what you already have, and it's right inside your pocket. You simply just need an iPhone, because time and time again when I speak to my students, they ask me, do I need to get a camera to go viral? No, the camera won't make you go viral, all right? It's how you create your content. And believe me or not, my most viewed video both on Instagram and TikTok was filmed on an iPhone. On Instagram, I pulled in 6.8 million views, and on TikTok, I pulled in 20 million views, simply filming on an iPhone and a very similar lighting setup like this. Like I say, your lighting is the foundation of any good video. You could have a £10,000 camera, but it will look terrible if you haven't got the right lighting set up. So make sure you master your lighting before you grab a camera, but before you do anything with a camera, make sure you understand how you actually create content. And quickly, if you're a barber that wants to learn exactly how to master content, link down below is a content accelerator, a 60-minute program to teach you exactly how to create professional content that lands you high-paying clients. It shows you exactly how to edit videos, how to film them, and how to create a cover photo that absolutely captivates your audience. So if you want to grab that, click the link down below as it's currently on sale and the price is going up soon. But of course, I'm not saying don't grab yourself a DSLR camera, but it needs to be relative to what you're doing. As your content evolves and your page develops, grab yourself a camera, upgrade your content, but when you're first starting out, honestly, your phone will do you wonders. So don't sit there and think, I need to grab a camera to go viral, because that is the wrong viewpoint. Rather than, you need to look at it and think, okay, I need to upgrade my technique and how I actually understand creating content, rather than thinking the camera will position my content and get me to go viral. That's a completely wrong way to look at it. Let's move on to the next section. Moving on to section 3, your tripod. The cameraman replacement, I like to call it. I hear it time and time again. Barbers come up with the excuse saying, I need a cameraman to create professional content. That's just absolute bullshit. Your tripod is your cameraman. Let's break down what tripods you can use based on your settings and the best fit for your barbershop. Okay, so as you can see, I've got a few tripods on my hand, but let's talk about what each one does and the benefits as to why you might want to choose them. Okay, so straight off the bat, this is the first tripod we're going to talk about, and I know what you're thinking. What the hell is this? This is what we call a monopod, and this is great for if you're working in tight areas around a section, okay? This is perfect if your shop's quite small or your chairs are quite close together, and the reason being is because it has small legs, all right? It doesn't get in the way, but the only thing that's an issue is it's very, very limited to the amount of stability it has. So it works great if you're using an iPhone, but if you're gonna use a camera, I would shy away from this. But some of the benefits is it can extend super, super tall, and again, it's very, very small, so you can get it right in front of you. You can get in between you and a client, and the client won't feel like you're invading their space with a massive tripod. With that being said, let's move on to the next tripod. The next tripod, a DSLR tripod, the secret cameraman I like to call it. This is going to be your bog standard tripod that you're going to use if you're using a camera or an iPhone. Regardless, if you're using a camera or an iPhone, this is absolutely amazing. But if I was using an iPhone, I would use one that's slightly smaller than this. I'll link it down below, and it has an attachment where it has that adjustable bendy arm that you can attach your iPhone to. But what I love about this is it's super, super stable. When you spread the legs out, cheeky, when you spread the legs out, it's really stable when you put the camera on top. You can add an additional weight if you're worried about your camera falling over. But the only problem with this, like I said, is it gets quite bulky. You got to imagine when you're working around chairs, this could get in the way, okay? So we got to bear that in mind. If you have enough space, then by all means, use this over the monopod over the monopod anytime, because it just has that stability and you don't need to worry about your camera falling over. But with that being said, I'm going to go over the filming and editing in further videos. So make sure to subscribe down below if you want to learn exactly my editing process and filming process, so you can start to understand my thought process and how I create my viral videos. So coming in to our final tripod, and it's not really a tripod, but it's a secret sauce that I use to create all of my content and get my signature angles. And what it is a wall mount. This is absolutely great because, as you can see, it's super free flowing. I can move it up, down, left, right. And the biggest benefit that I love the most about it is there's nothing around my feet. I don't have to worry about having those really long, annoying legs from the DSLR tripod. I can simply move around the client. But the only disadvantage is you need to screw this into the wall. So if you've got your own shop or you're working somewhere else, it's going to be quite hard to screw this into a wall, and you're going to need space because, as you can see, it's quite bulky. But this is going to be my favorite tripod. So if you have the chance, get yourself a wall mount, and this is going to make creating content so much easier because you can just leave your camera set up day in, day out, and simply just click a button and you have your signature angles. With that being said, if you could have any choice, I would grab yourself the wall mount. But if you don't have that luxury, grab yourself a DSLR tripod, because that's going to optimize the most stability and it gives you the most versatility to creating these signature angles. Let's get moved on to the next section. Section 4, audio, the overlooked secret that no one pays any attention to. People might not notice a bad visual, but my God, will they remember bad audio. How many times have you watched a video and someone's microphone is crackling or it's too loud and you think, oh God, get me off this video? So you know that audio is super crucial, but you're neglecting it. This is where most barbers go wrong. They want to capture a nice ASMR video, but they're not using microphones to capture the crisp sound. So that leads me on to the next piece of equipment that's crucial if you have the ability to pay for one. Grab yourself a good microphone. Because not what only barbers, but any content creators don't realize is audio is just as important as visuals. We've got to imagine people listen with our ears as well as look with their eyes. And once I leveled up my audios, that changed my content forever. It allowed me to diversify my content. I can create ASMR videos, I can create YouTube videos like this, I can capture great consultations, all for the fact that I'm capturing great audio. So when you're looking at capturing a consultation video, it's crucial that you have a microphone. And please, please, please try and avoid getting those cheap microphones from Amazon. They solve a purpose, but they're really not that great. If you can grab yourself a DJI microphone, a Rode microphone, and invest that little bit more money, trust me, it's gonna be worth it, because some of my best performing videos are consultations. Section 5, your environment and background, the final piece to the puzzle. So you would have just noticed I've added a plant in the background. It's not for dramatic effect, it's actually to solve a purpose. When we're creating content, a lot of barbers think, right, I need a nice crisp white background. But in my eyes, that just blows out the shot. It takes away the value from the actual haircut, and the only thing you can focus on is the blown out shot in the background. So what I like to do is incorporate a plant in the background. The reason we want to do this is it breaks up the space between the client and the white background. It adds that bit of color pop and it adds depth to the video. How many times you watch YouTube videos like Iman Gadzi, for example? His setup, he has really colorful lights in the background behind him, so it breaks up that background shot. And the reason being is it adds contrast. And you can do the same to your barbering videos. This is how you're gonna make yourself stand out. So be wary of what's in the background. The worst thing you can do is take videos and there's hair on the floor, or there's bin in the background, or there's clients sitting down. Granted, you might not have the luxury of having a nice clean space in the background, but try your hardest to make it as clean and aesthetic as possible, because trust me, this is gonna make all of your content seem that much more professional. And finally, what you need to master is your angles and editing. This is where the magic happens. This is where your content baby comes to life, okay? And like I mentioned previously, in the next video, I'm gonna show you exactly how I film and capture all of my content. So you can see the whole thought process on how I capture. And there's gonna be a second part to that video where I show you my editing session, all right? This is where we break down the Scalo 6-stage editing system. And this is where you really start to edit to captivate. And I'm gonna show you all the little tricks that I've learned over 5 years creating content. So now you see going viral and attracting high-paying clients isn't about your location or fancy gear. It's about setting up the right foundations and knowing how to use it. But I have to be real with you. No matter how good your setup is, if you're not consistent, if you're not putting in the effort with the right strategy, nothing's going to change. Having the right tools is just a start, but knowing how to use them in the right way over and over again is what actually builds brands and brings high value clients in. And I know this because it hasn't just worked on me, it's worked on my student George. And within the first 4 weeks of working together, we raised his yearly income by 25%. We pulled in 1.7 million views, and now he's gaining new consistent clients, as well as students wanting to receive one-on-one education from him, willing to travel 3 hours to just learn from him. That's exactly why I do what it is I do. I help barbers scale their barbering business. I work one-on-one with barbers who want to take their skills beyond the chair and turn them into a 6-figure content-driven business. I'll show you the systems, the strategy, and the accountability that actually makes you grow your business. But not only that, it doesn't just happen once, it happens consistently. Your content starts doing all the heavy lifting for you. New clients are flowing in, and it positions you to actually raise your prices. Okay, this is how you scale your business. Rather than just creating content for a hobby, it's time to create content that actually grows your business. So if you're ready to stop guessing and start scaling your business, the link to book a discovery call with me is linked down below. Let's map out your content system and start building a brand you know you're capable of. But if you're not ready, that's okay. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and watch the next video. I'll see you in the next one. See ya.